What's up, everyone? Andre here, along with Jake and Tris, to discuss the Splatoon 3 Splatfest world premiere demo. It's a lot of words, but I got through it, luckily. Yeah, that happened over the weekend. That was a pretty big thing. Every region got play for, I believe, a 12-hour period. I don't think everyone played for all 12. Maybe someone played for all 12 hours. That's a long time. I myself started playing early in the European Splatfest. I'm a bit of a maverick that way, but after we played, for at least a few hours for each of us, I wanted to get together, talk about our impressions so far. I think all of us have maybe a slightly different take on this. I'm really excited to hear what Jake's thoughts on this. Chat, how are you all doing today? I want to hear your impressions as well as we go through this. We'll be addressing the chat, as we go through. Also, more importantly, let us know how we sound right now. If you can hear us okay, if the music's too loud or too quiet, let us know. We also have B-roll of Deep Cut right now playing in the background. In the top slot, the premier slot goes to Deep Cut. Big man, gotta represent big man. It's a sad day.
Of course. I mean, why would we have it any other way?
Exactly, right? So let's start off with just our top level overall impressions. Jake, what did you think overall of this Splatfest? Did you have a good time? Did you not? How are you feeling on this at a top level for now?
I can't stop thinking about how Splatoon 1, 2, 3, whatever, just Splatoon, an instant classic, has not been on this world that long, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the concept of the turf war, the concept of spraying ink, the ink being what you need to move, but also what you need to win, just that, combining that with a third-person shooter, it being Nintendo's 4v4 online game, the whole thing, every time I spend time away from Splatoon, I just forget how fun and in a way genius it is. and it really coming back and doing this demo, I was like, man, they have something with this. This is a banger. This is a good it's crazy that to me that there aren't a bunch of Splatoon copycats out there. It just works.
I think to your point, Jake, this game is so distinct that if someone were to make anything remotely close to it, it would be immediately pegged as being a clone. So maybe in a few years, now that we're a few years removed from Smash Brothers being introduced, a couple decades, now we're starting to get those clones. So give it another 10 years maybe, and we'll start having them. Tris, how about you? How did you feel about this whole thing?
Honestly, it was really fun. I'm pretty happy with how right away you were able to quickly jump into matches. I know stream can vouch. When I streamed, there was quite a bit of communication errors, but usually when it happened, they were kind of bunched together. It wasn't riddled throughout the entire time. So I got maybe 3 in a row, and then no more for 2, maybe 3 hours. It was pretty consistent there, so it actually held up pretty nicely, which gave a good quick first impression there already. And so when I specifically played on stream, I got to do the tricolor turf wars, or attempt to, at least, because you can't actually choose them if you're the winning team at halftime, which really confused me at first, but made a lot of sense. But it made me worried I wasn't going to get to play many of them.
Yeah, in hindsight, I wish we had someone go a different team now, because we're all Team Scissors, so we're all on the defense constantly in the tricolor, which is
now we know.
Which is brutal. It's brutal being on defense in that mode. How did we all do? I mean, just overall, how did the tricolors play out for you? Did you win or lose most of them? Did you win any of them? How did that go for you guys?
I managed to win a few of them, actually. I don't know exactly how many on stream, because I played some matches after stream as well in the last,
just in general,
hour or so.
In general, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, in general, I definitely was about even. I lost about as many as I won, which I was kind of surprised by, because some of it was definitely a case of the other teams refusing to work together, and therefore, when you have 2 people on Team Rock, 2 people on Team Paper, dealing with 4 people on Team Scissors, if they're not willing to at least help each other, even slightly, they're gonna basically give it to the defenders. And there were a couple times where we landslide, we defended it no problem. But then there were other times where people were very clearly coordinated until they had a chance to fight each other. There were times where from both sides, Paper and Rock were able to just completely decimate our defending team, getting us a wipeout. And as soon as the wipeout happened, they'd immediately start fighting for the thing in the middle. It was kind of funny.
I've got thoughts about that new wipeout thing. I love seeing it when one of the causes of the wipeout. When we get wiped out, I don't want to see that. Don't tell me that, game. That's the worst feeling in the world. Like, between that and the new defeat screen, where to watch your stupid, smug opponents' faces as they dance off to beating you. No, not a huge fan of either of those. In any case, Jake, looks like you're about to give like a presentation or something over there.
Yeah, you got like the paper and everything.
I looked up, like, you know how you can see your past matches in the lobby? I took notes about my stats, and
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I played 9 tricolor turf wars.
Okay, that's more than me,
And
I think.
And I won 4.
Okay.
But I gotta tell you, it didn't feel good. It never felt good. It always, to me, it was the situation of like, I just needed a perfect storm to have. Andre, you and I actually played one together that we lost, and it was by just like a tiny little bit. And I feel like it was, I don't know, there was something about it that I feel like if the other people were coordinated at all, we were just toast. The thing that's crazy to me is that, like, we had our halftime report where they said Scissors was in first place, and then to get the full rundown on the scores and see that Scissors didn't win any points. Yeah. To me, that's, I don't know. I think that's representative of an issue, and we know Nintendo tweeted about it. But I wonder I don't know how you balance this kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't even know where you begin with that. Like, on paper, so to speak, the idea isn't terrible where, like, it gives the losing teams a chance to catch up, right? Like, that seems like it's a good idea. But the problem is, if it's so ill-balanced, which at this point is impossible to tell, like, no one knew what they were doing initially in this mode. Yeah. So it's something we're going to have to play out and see how the current balance actually matters if people, know how to play. But yeah, if the odds are against the winning team, then you don't want to be in the lead initially. Like, it's counterproductive to being in first if your odds of winning drop that much, which, again, it's too early to tell or not. All I can tell you is I was getting wrecked in those early tricolor matches especially. However, as, I think is it Double L? Yeah, Double L in the chat says, I did help Andre in a couple tricolor matches, so that's cool. Yes, Double L helped turn things around for me. So nice. We won 2 matches eventually that way on stream. All the others, we got demolished. Because it just seems like once you lose an Ultra Signal, especially once you lose both Ultra Signals, it seems like it's game over. Like, why even keep the match going at that point? Again, it's still early, maybe you can't turn it around. It just seems so hopeless at that point, because it's so much focus is put onto those, and I think like a couple of tweaks would either be extend the time it takes to activate it, or give you some way of like getting rid of it. Give the defending team a chance to come back after it's activated.
So in terms of activating it, it's each time an attempt is made to activate it, it takes less time each time.
Yeah, maybe so maybe it doesn't need more time. Maybe it should reset, or maybe there needs to be a cooldown period or something.
I think I like the idea that there can only be 2 out, but I think it should be a case of they can be destroyed, so then a new one could spawn, but there can only be 2 active. I think would be a better way to balance that. I think the other thing that we need to keep in mind too is this was only 6 hours of tricolor, as opposed to in the main game, I believe it would be 24 hours.
Right, a much longer period.
It's a much longer period of time, and I feel like it's a little hard to say just from the demo if it's truly so unbalanced, or if it's just 5 of those 6 hours were spent everybody going, now that I finally got a tricolor turf war, how the heck do I play it? But if we have 24 hours with it, people will get that out of the way faster.
My impression of like how you win a Splatfest though is genuinely just, I feel like if you have this mode which is designed to shake up whoever is in the lead at the 50% point, and if it actually is harder, and I think we all agree that it's harder to be the defending one because you're essentially playing zones and turf war at the same time. I think what ends up happening in practice is that you get, so many losses from people on your team that even if you are winning, I don't know if it really, I don't know. There's something about balancing this that it feels to me like you are saddling the winning team that's probably only winning by this small tiny percentage of battles with this weird thing. So now I'm starting to think, all right, guys, first half, we sandbag. We
Right,
sandbag
yeah, exactly.
in the first half of the Splatfest.
Yeah.
We do not win. And then, because it's always so close. So how much do we really want to sandbag the team in first and make it so much harder?
I mean, the
for
thing
them?
is, though, like you still get experience points and all that too for playing well, right?
Yeah.
So there's that smaller, I mean, more personal motivation to do well in these. So good luck trying to convince all millions of people on your on Team Scissors to sandbag the match.
Nobody play Saturday.
Just,
Nobody
sit out.
play. Don't log
So-
on.
So, genuine question here, though, about the tricolor turf wars in general. Because I know, like, you know, within the hours of it ending and getting the actual results, everyone was coming up with, you know, just initial impressions on how to improve it. And the one that I keep seeing go around that I wanted to get, like, your guys' opinions on is people theorize, what if instead of the winning team is the one in the, like, at halftime, the winning team is just there for the rest of it? What if it's every time the maps rotate, it is the current winning team that gets put in the middle?
That'll make
So
way more
on the
sense.
2-hour cycle,
Yeah.
on a 2-hour cycle, whenever maps rotate, they keep changing that, and then obviously, you know, you'll see at the very end. Well, this one was in the lead, but did they hold the lead for the very end? We'll find out when the Splatfest results come out.
Yeah, I like the idea of having a halfway point and telling you,
Yeah.
giving you information about who's winning the Splatfest. I do think that is a smart idea and it's exciting. I also wonder if they could do like a, you know, it's like bottom of the ninth. I wonder if they could do like a last couple hours and mix things up even more. And I know they don't want to like give away the results of the Splatfest, but I like maybe like one of those scoring modes could be involved in some way. Because one thing that I think is really interesting is that we get that halfway notification about who's winning, but that doesn't include, I don't think, like who just got the most votes.
Yeah,
And
that doesn't do in popularity.
and it's so obvious, you know, when you're playing who got the most votes. So it's this weird thing where
Based
it's like,
on
oh,
like
well,
how often you're getting matched, or
yeah, or just hey, go over to the GameXplain TikTok and see which team, which
That's
video.
Team
blew
Rock.
up.
Team Rock is crushing it, as I recall, right?
Yeah, so it ended up being this weird thing where I'm like, oh, well, so Team Rock, they could just be barely losing in the battles, and they're winning in the votes. And now we're putting the saddlebags on Team Scissors. I think there's something that could be, you know what I mean? There's something missing in the mix here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall, I mean, I think it's a really interesting idea they have here. Like, I thought it was fun. I mean, when I wasn't like getting decimated out there, like especially once I start understanding more of how it worked. I think they probably should have had a better introduction for it. I had no idea what was going on initially.
Yeah.
And I was just tweeting about this, or if someone replied to one of my tweets, being like, I enjoyed it, but I had no idea what was going on. And it's not even that complicated. They should just explain it. Just give us a simple explainer before the first match, and yeah, show us how it's done.
Yeah.
So, but I do like, this was the most distinct part of the demo, and I appreciated it being here. It's like, okay, this is actually something new to the game. We've never had 3 teams before. It's a different dynamic, you know, and I wish I'd been able to experience it from the other side to see, you know, to see what that's like, being on the offensive side and activating the Ultra Signal. Because from my perspective of being on Team Scissors, like, it was like constant notifications, like, Ultra Signal's appeared. It's being attacked. Oh, they activated it. It's like, great, awesome, you know, it's all like within a 10-second span. It's like, I'm like, I'm dead. I can't do anything.
You're totally right though that it is like distinct and cool in a special way. I don't think he's played since like early Splatoon 2, but I like took a picture of the final screen with 3 colors and I sent it to like my brother and I was like, "Yo, look at this. Red, yellow, and blue, dude." And he was like, "What?" And I,
My
you know,
boy.
and I just think that's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, no, it's really a neat idea. So I think there's probably further tweaks they can make. Again, though, it's hard to say for sure right now, just because it is so early. People are just getting used to it in the first place. So maybe there's more to it than we fully understand. I do know, I see one complaint people have thrown out there, which I can also see being a bit of an issue, and that's the fact that the defending teams are able to cover their own home turf, and I don't think the teams on defense can get there, or not easily at the least. So that gives them like an inherent advantage that makes it even more one-sided, or, you know, than the than the defending
Oh
team.
yeah, you can totally get spawn camped if you're the defending team.
Yeah, that
which
sucks.
you like,
Yep.
can't. Yeah,
Which-
I agree.
By
Yeah.
the way, real quick, I don't know if I want to shift over to Turf Wars quite yet, fully, but so I thought I had assumed based on the changes that they'd made to how the spawning works in this game that spawn camping would be basically a thing of the past. There were many times in this game where we're getting wrecked constantly, where like the whole field's like the enemy team's color, we're spawning, we're dying. I'm like, what? I thought this was gone. Did anyone else have that trouble? Or was it just my teams I ended up on, or?
It never happened to me.
Really?
Tristan,
It never
happened to
happened
you?
for
Wow.
me. It never happened for me.
Never.
It kind of did in Tricolor because where the defending team is placed, they can be easily. That's a bit different though. In normal Turf Wars,
Right.
I never had it happen once.
Yeah. Andre, I don't want to have like a. It's a.
Jake,
It's a.
don't go there, Jake.
It's a
if there were a one-on-one mode here, if we're playing Splatoon with you, we could do it.
We should definitely do, by the way, when the full game comes out, like a
Our own
private
teams.
match,
Yeah, we should.
and 3 people just
All right.
hold back. We do one.
That'd be. Oh my god! I didn't even think about that. That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. I want to do that. Then I want us to form our own posse. Like we're gonna choose people from the
Yes.
chat. We're gonna make our own posse. We're gonna have our own teams out there. Team Andre versus Team Jake. it's
That's
The
a good
GameXplain
Splatfest.
Splatfest.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be fun.
Shout out to the super chat really quick. To Jiro Kamado. I thought Team Scissors was gonna win, but then at the halftime, players kept disconnecting. Nintendo should fix that. Other than that, 9 out of 10. I want to talk about these disconnects.
Yes,
really
such a
quick.
good thing to bring up.
Yeah, because these disconnects were out of control, and I think it's a few factors. I think it's one, like Nintendo Internet. We've all been there. Number 2, a lot of people, it's a demo. They're just trying out the game. They're playing
Right.
on Wi-Fi on their Switches.
Yeah.
I totally understand. No problem. Number 3, when you're connected and like in a group and matching up or whatever, how do you exit?
Yeah,
Ah,
really.
you can't.
It
No.
was
That drove me nuts. Okay, maybe again, I realize this is partially getting used to a new game, but I struggled with those menus. Like I couldn't remember. I'm like, how do I change weapons? I didn't want to be thrown into a new lobby match. I wanted to meet up with my friends, and then I would start matchmaking without meaning to. And there's no way to back out without quitting the game. There's to go through that freaking opening cutscene again with the freaking deep cut, which I love, but I don't want to sit there for like listening to them, which is quicker now at least. Not a huge fan of that.
No, those menus were really bad. I feel like there were 3 different menu buttons for like different menus.
Well,
you
there's
can go
there's
into.
literally a button to toggle an option that another button does on the menu. Which what kind of
No.
design is that? Who thought that was a
really
good
bad.
idea?
And I'll be honest, I did it. I was like, I don't know how to. I don't want to be doing what I'm doing right now. I need to leave this match. It says I'm matchmaking. I pressed every button, and I said, well, now I'm pressing the home button. And so
Yeah.
I was guilty of it.
Yeah, I mean,
It is a little annoying when trying to group up with friends too. How like if someone wanted to drop out but you wanted to add another friend in, everyone had to hit stop, and then you have to essentially make the room again, because otherwise it just continues the matchmaking without that one person. Or if the party leader leaves, it just shifts the party lead to someone else, and it's so weird how the game, like the actual gameplay, has a much better user experience, but the out of game, all the menus are somehow not very good so far.
How were you ever in a match where you're playing and then in the middle they go, a player disconnected?
yep, it just shuts
So-
the whole thing down.
Yeah, my first Tricolor was that on stream.
What year is it? What is going on?
What is that? What is
they
that?
They seriously can't figure out how to replace a player with a bot mid-match.
Nintendo's done this. They've done that before. Kirby's Dream Buffet does this. I don't get that.
And you can still have it not count. Still say, hey,
Yeah.
somebody dropped out. It's not gonna completely ruin your rank or whatever it is. But it's a 3-minute match. Relax. Like play with a computer for a second. Like it's I don't.
Tamale Munchie.
Especially since
Oh, go ahead.
previous Splatoon games, like I think Splatoon 2, if someone disconnected, that team would just be down a person, but you'd still play.
Oh, yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I think
Like,
I think you might be right.
I don't think it would just call quits to the entire match, is the weird thing. So Splatoon 2 did it a little bit better than Splatoon 3 already is, which is interesting. Sorry, continue, Andre.
Tamale Muncher said in the chat, if I can find it, there it is. That moment when you're the one person who accidentally stays in. Yeah, I had that in that I was trying to form a new lobby. I forget for what reason, and I was with some friends, and they got stuck in another match while I was exiting and tried to create a new lobby, so they couldn't escape, and they had played their match.
Yep.
Which is a little annoying. I will say though, I don't want to just nitpick because I think this entire demo was actually pretty cool. Like, having a 12-hour period which you can play as much as you want, where you can group up with friends. That's actually really neat. But that's something that's Splatoon has had some issues with in the past. So it's nice playing a game that easily allows you to match up with friends, especially during a demo. And I actually did that. I was playing with a couple of my friends who we used to play Splatoon 2 back in the day. We hadn't touched it in a couple of years outside of Salmon Run, and we had a great time. Like, I actually think it sold both of them on the game, and they're probably gonna pick it up when they may not have cared otherwise. Like, I don't think they were aware of this game until the demo, and I thought that was really neat. The fact that we got to enjoy the Splatfest vibes. I love that energy. Like, there's nothing quite like a Splatfest. And I just enjoyed everything. I just had a good time overall, with this. But Jake, I know you had some specific thoughts about the demo overall. I've seen your tweets.
Yeah. So I want to get to that, but first I want to back up what you just said, because I had a cool gamer moment where I was like, okay, I've got some plans. I gotta go live my life. I'm enjoying Splatoon 3 Splatfest demo, and then I'm in the lobby and I'm right about to exit, and I see Andre's little Octoling. And he's chilling out there, and he's getting ready to group up for a match, the hologram. And I was like, ooh, okay, I got time for one more. And I walked up, and I grouped in, and it was so easy.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
we were messaging about it, and we were playing together, and I was like, man, that in terms of my experience playing this, sick. I don't have to exchange a dozen messages with my brother being like, how do you do this on Nintendo, dude? Like, what are you,
To their credit, that new lobby is actually awesome. Like, I really like being able to just, easily group up with people, see, hang out kind of in the same virtual space. There's a few other things to do. You're not stuck in a boring lobby screen. Also, one quick sec, we got a super chat from Some Call Me Cam for $10. They didn't say anything. They just gave a donation. Thank you so much, Some Call Me Cam. All right, so Jake, let's get to the other half of
Okay, this has really been on my mind. And I know that if you're here right now, if you're tuning in, if you're watching our live stream, you're probably so hyped for Splatoon 3. You're looking forward to it. Can't wait to get that full game. I'm right there with you. I love Splatoon. Can't wait for Splatoon 3. Day 0, okay? Dropping the dollar bill.
I mean, you were at the preview event, so that was like day negative, 21?
Right.
Yeah.
No. And I've been so excited all year. One of my most anticipated games. Nothing about that changes. If you've tuned into some other streams and things I've done, people know I love fighting games. And I actually I think that there's a lot of similarities here with what's being done in terms of it being not quite an evolution, but an iteration of what we have seen before in past Splatoon games. And yeah, I made some tweets about how I stopped playing the Splatfest demo, and I was like, damn, I love Splatoon. I want to play more. And I loaded up Splatoon 2 and just started playing Splatfest online. And I went, whoa, this is the same video game. This is, you can just put your controller off, give it to this person, give it to that person. They were playing that. You don't know which one you're playing. And I know that there are, it's like anytime a fighting game comes out, that there are techniques and little things and details that add up.
Yeah.
And I totally get that. But for me, not pro competitive Splatoon player, I feel like what I am doing 90% of the time in the game in Splatoon, regardless of all those little small new things, is the same. And I know that some pro players are going to look at me and they're going to go, but Jake, this changes the whole game. Like, are any of you guys sub-swimming or sub-strafing? Do you know what this is?
Is it not the squid
Jake,
roll?
are you trying to call us out as not Splatoon pros? Like, what are you doing here?
No, listen. You can do this strafe swim move where you ready your sub weapon, you hold that button down, and then you start swimming. And you can swim. It's kind of like wave dashing in Splatoon. You can swim a lot faster because the time it takes for your Inkling to go swim form is much shorter. So it's fractions of a second, but it's something that all the pro players do. But obviously it's not something that we do.
Right, yeah.
Because even if we did do that, how much of a difference would it make in our play? None. And that's kind of That is how I feel about a lot of the changes in Splatoon 3, except I feel that the weapon kits are there are meaningful changes there that make this a better game. It doesn't necessarily mean that my experience playing it 90% of the time is any different, but there are changes here. But I do think, like, my big comment, my bumper sticker statement is, if you play Splatoon 2 right now, all of those skills are immediately transferable to Splatoon 3 because it is mostly the same game.
Right.
And that's okay. That's okay, but it is. Just admit it. It is.
I was like picturing Seinfeld.
It's a sad game.
What's the deal with Splatoon 3? No, I totally get that. Like, I didn't have time to revisit Splatoon 2 after playing Splatoon 3, so it's entirely possible my thoughts will be different after revisiting the past game, because there have been times where I'm like, this feels the same, and you go back, it's like, oh wow, they actually changed a fair amount. But having not done that, just playing Splatoon 3 after, again, not playing Splatoon 2 super recently, it did feel extremely similar. Like, it feels similar, it looks similar. You know, there's a lot of like quality of life enhancements, which I appreciate. The core gameplay though did feel very similar to me. Now again, there's probably some minor tweaks in there. They have that new like jump move, I forget the actual name of it, when you're in the squid form, that I haven't even fully explored yet. There's new weapons. I'm sure there's a different meta in here that I don't fully understand yet. But when it comes to the pure gameplay, yeah, it feels very similar to me. And playing Turf War, I'm like, to your point, Jake, you probably could have told me like it's a new map in Splatoon 2, and I wouldn't have known any different. You know, like there's not that much that's fundamentally different from this, from what I can tell so far. But again, it could be one of the things that the differences come out more over time as you more get used to it, or especially in comparison to the previous game. And because I know people that like, look at Smash Brothers and like that's the exact same game as last time, and I get that. But like if you play those games, you know there are differences there that do change quite a bit about how it feels. So I don't know if Splatoon 3 is like quite at that level or not yet, but I will say it did feel a little bit more similar than I was hoping at this point. Like I was hoping it would just feel a little more distinct. But as you said earlier, Jake, it's still Splatoon. Like at its core, it's a great game. Like that's a solid gameplay concept they have there, and it's just a ton of fun. But how about you, Tress? Where do you fall on this?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Andre, when you made the Smash comparison, but like not to that degree, obviously, where it's like each game, you know, when you play each one, you will find inherent differences, even if largely the core game is gonna be the same. Right. You know, Smash Wii U to Smash Ultimate, very similar, but there are a lot of differences that set them apart, where you'll find people absolutely preferring one over the other kind of thing. And I think Splatoon 3 is going to be very similar in that way, but it is primarily going to be in the weapon kits, the abilities, the quality of life updates, the new content in it. More so than like, oh, well, my NZAP is actually faster in Splatoon 3, so therefore it's actually the better game. Like, you're not gonna see a lot of that from the casual side of things. And I did boot up a little bit of Splatoon 2 since the 3 demo, and I couldn't tell too much of a difference. But then again, I don't even have everything I was using in 3, so I didn't have my Dark Tetra dualies, or I didn't even get back to the NZAP yet. So it's like, well, from what I can tell, it is similar, of course, because it's the same core game. It's Splatoon. This isn't, you know, a whole spin-off or anything like that. Right. But I think it is worth noting that it's kind of a good thing that it's familiar, but I do understand the want for it to be more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
totally, yeah.
And I think so much of what this game is offering, like so much of when, even though this is always like a silly thing to do, when we break down what it is you're paying for with the $60, I think my ultimate take was like, oh, a better demo would have been just playing Splatoon 2. And I think you would have had more to see for the game, because I don't think the Splatfest specifically really like showed me the breadth of what Splatoon 3 offers. And so much of that for me, and I know some people aren't gonna like this, but so much of what I'm getting into are the service elements. It's like all of my different progression paths, leveling up my gun, getting those little things, getting new cosmetics, getting items in the seasonal catalog, doing Salmon Run whenever I want, and doing those progression paths too, watching the meters go up, improving my rank, improving my level, getting more money, all things we couldn't do in this demo.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is so 100% part of the experience.
Yep.
So it was a little weird to take those things out and be like, oh man, they're not even like letting me gain a level just to see it.
Yeah, no.
Like I'm level 0, baby. Yeah, yeah.
Real quick, that reminds me of one minor complaint I have is all the ranking up that happens now before you actually see the results of the turf war, like the individual results. Like they really delayed when those appear. I hate that. Like I want to know how I did on the team, you know, to see how much I turfed and whatnot. But now they have all the leveling up and stuff before that. But yeah, it's a minor complaint.
Well, Andre, what you're talking about, the rhythm of events when all the end screens show
it's weird,
up,
right?
There's something weird about it. And then when it's all done, you kind of like get it again. And they're like, okay, now you can stare at it if you want.
Well, I barely had time to even read the like individual awards you get now. Like it goes by so quick.
The countdown starts going. Yeah.
But the rhythm's weird. Yeah.
But I will say I do like the fact you get those little achievements now. You know, little stickers or whatever that tell you how you did in the match, like Mario Party basically, and or GoldenEye if you want to go way back. And that's what 25 years old now, so that's perfect. And what else I like too was the fact that you can now look at your past results for the Splatfest. Like you can see like, hey, how many games have I won versus how many have I lost, how you did in each of those, and that's really cool. That's a good feature. Real quick before we continue on, we got some comments we gotta get through. First off, shout out to the Nintendo dads in the chat who say, biggest thing in the demo to me is the movement. In Splatoon 2, I played mid-range support because the enemy ink is basically glue, and ranged weapons rule. In 3, I felt more free to play aggressive, which is great. So that's interesting. That might speak to some of the differences, perhaps, you know, between the two games.
Yeah.
We also had some we had the super chat from some Call Me Cam earlier, and their text comment didn't go along with it for whatever reason. So what they wanted to say was, I think my main gripe is that if you want to use gyro, it still locks the vertical movement on the R stick, the right stick. Many games have no problem with it, so it still kind of bothers me. I saw a whole tweet thread about this actually, I think.
I retweeted it.
That's probably why. Yeah.
It's a really good thread. If you go to my Twitter account right now, you can check it out. He's really smart and like talks about gyro in other games. But in one of our previews, I mentioned to both of you, I was like, oh, I think Splatoon 3 is going to implement flick stick, and they do not, and it's disappointing. And I don't know if either of you has ever tried the gyro controls in Fortnite.
My dad uses it. He loves it. He swears by them.
They're amazing, and I'm like, I'm a little salty that they're not here. It's just because I played with them too, and I'm like, oh man, dude, it's like feels so good there. So now I gotta get used to how it is here. I know a lot of people have this complaint about the motion controls. Yeah.
In a game that's all about salt water, is being salty not what you want?
I guess it is.
Yeah,
it was by design.
Yeah, exactly.
Good point.
Right. We have a couple super chats here as well from names I'm probably going to horribly mispronounce. So I'm sorry about that. We have Tanger Kamad, I think. Thank you so much. He says, I'm going to be honest, this is my first Splatoon since I'm a PlayStation 5 fan, but Nintendo will always have a place in my heart. Super Nintendo OG gamer. Heck yeah, Super Nintendo, great era. Thank you for the super chat, and you know, maybe Splatoon 3 will be the game to bring you back as a PS5 gamer. So then we have a super chat from Fifi, or Feifei. Thank you. It says, I feel like a 3-team splat battles should have been the staple of this game that would have set it apart from Splatoon 2. That is interesting. It does feel like the tri battle is kind of like they're dipping their toes in the idea, you know, like seeing how that might work. I was thinking about this earlier. What's funny is this actually led me somehow to like real life search results for like 3-way battles. Like, is that a thing? Like, have there been like 3-way wars? And there usually aren't. Like, that's a very rare thing in history, because what happens is like two teams just form up, like usually just pair up and take down the one, or it becomes like a 2 versus 1 thing, and that's a problem they could run into in a true 3-way battle. I could possibly see, so maybe why, like, I don't know how you would begin to balance that. So there could be concerns there, but this does kind of feel like a you know, like they're dipping their toes in the pool to see how it could work maybe, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
It's definitely tough, and I think we see from the Tricolor Turf Wars that you can't really balance it super well, even with this kind of style. There's going to be an inherent level of unbalancedness to it, or misbalance to it, and I think the closest you could get, the Switch probably can't handle, which would be 4v4v4, and on a map designed, I don't know, shit like a Y or like a trident, and you all start in your own areas and you have different areas to go, but like you could still have the issues of people teaming up on both sides against the one. I mean, you see that kind of thing in Fall Guys a lot, actually. In whenever you play a game with like 3 teams, you will absolutely see 2 teams go up against one of them. Like, they will just kind of, without communicating, decide we're just all going to gang up on this one team.
Right.
And it happens, and I think Splatoon's a very tough game to introduce that in a way that's free of any sort of real consequence and any sort of misbalance. Like it would be tough to do, honestly.
Yeah, I think it probably would be, which is probably why they haven't. But I do think one solution, Triss, if they are capped at like 8 players, essentially, they could go 3-way battles, like have 3 versus 3 versus 3. Yeah, increase it by 1. I don't know how much that actually matters. I assume the next Splatoon would probably be on the next Switch anyway at this point, or yeah, whenever that is. I mean, this game
Wouldn't
took
you
5
hope
years.
so?
I'd hope so. Yeah, we've had a lot of very similar looking Splatoon games at this point, so I think it's time for a tech upgrade there. We had a chat from Carlos who asks or says, "You guys should touch on the new Splatfest scoring. It felt kind of lame and unjust to win so many 100 times battles, yet Scissors literally got 0 points." So, we touched on this a little bit earlier. As Team Scissors, as all of us being Team Scissors, we felt that pain. Yeah, that sucks. Like, how do we go from leading to 0 points in the end? Like, what?
Yeah.
What the heck is that about?
I think there needs to be a small amount of points awarded for who was winning at the half.
Yep.
That's a good way of...
Even, like a Mario Party bonus star kind of thing.
Yeah,
like, was winning at halftime awarded points.
Yeah, because just putting a target on your back with no reward is dumb. Like, so you heard it here first. So yeah, I think that would solve a lot of problems, and it would get away from. I think we just get away from the issue of what happened in this specific test, which was, hey, you're winning at the half, and you finished with 0 points. I'm sorry.
You know, this is such a good idea. This actually might be how you largely fix the balance issues. Like, right now, there is almost no incentive to be first at halftime. Like, why would you want to be first? If you have some level of points guaranteed, what you should basically do then is basically ensure that unless you get 3rd place, you're probably going to win this thing. So I think that might, not necessarily always, but you know what I'm saying. Like, going into halftime, whoever's in first, that they should still have the advantage. So yeah, I think that would help balance it out a little bit better to make it more like that. But yeah, in any case, ending with 0 points is super lame. I didn't even understand how that scoring worked. I'm like, okay, whatever.
You know what? I covered it when they revealed it, so I knew going in that it was going to be like that. But it's I feel like just logically in the players' minds, it would be way cooler to be like, oh my god, Scissors already has 10 points.
Right.
We have to get, that then there's like yeah, there's some juice there.
I like that.
And I feel like now it's so like imaginary, and I also just think that it's like, because it's like giving the person getting the first star in Mario Party. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So
another way to maybe fix this. You're bringing up some interesting points. Like I like the try battle thing, but it's your direct opponent is almost more of a vague idea at this point. Like, who am I really fighting at this point? I almost wonder if going back to after some tricolor battles, if there's a period in which you go back to turf war, purely turf war, like for the final hour or two, and that's how you maybe settle it. Or I don't know. It needs something to make that clearer, I think.
I need chat to tell me right now what the actual difference is between open and pro battles, because what
isn't it not just ranking? I think it's rank. Is that not rank?
I think it's just your ranking.
What does that mean? What do you
like? You know how
it's like Fortnite.
as you
Fortnite
played more,
like it's like ranked and not unranked Fortnite. You know?
Like you know how you were as you were playing. You like for us it was Scissors. You're like Scissors Defender, Scissors Champion, Scissors Ruler, and then Ruler plus however many more times you got it. I think it's like that. So probably Pro is like halfway up those rankings and then some. But I think that's only during Splatfest, whereas during normal Turf War, I don't think there'll be a pro version of Turf War. I think you would just go to ranked mode instead.
But I guess my question is, in open, obviously it must be matchmaking in open as well, in some accordance to your level and how good you are. So I guess in Splatoon, I was just confused at like yeah, I know a lot of people in the chat are saying it's like ranked versus unranked, but I'm like, but there is no rank, because there's no like measure of there's a measure of how much you're playing. But there's very little measure of like how you are ranking. Now, I think some people are saying that you have to solo queue in pro.
Okay.
And in open you can play. Okay. See, that is something.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I just feel whatever those differences are, and I feel like this happened every time Splatoon introduced anything during this demo, including the tricolor turf war. They have to do something to make me go, this is the difference, Jake. Because when you get to that score and they're like, all right, we're tallying up the Splatfest. 10 points for open, 15 for pro. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, should I have played pro the whole time? Should I, like, there's no friction. It's just stuff. It's, yeah.
I tuned out a few minutes ago, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know what was happening there. This pro open stuff, I don't know. Real quick, I noticed that the Zeitgeist had briefly moved on in the chat to the new weapon, specifically to the Splatana. Some Call Me Cam had suggested that it didn't hit as hard as they thought it might. And I wonder how we all felt about that. I myself didn't use the new weapons too much because I realized quickly I was sucking with them, and I'm all about winning. So I had to go back to the weapons I knew. But Splatana, what did we think?
So
Chris, I'm so curious because we talked about this and we went in feeling the same way. And now, how do you feel?
I want to be better with the Splatana, but oh man, I kept wanting to like get right in there. But I tested this out in a little test range. You have to get so close to be able to like insta kill or like really kill someone with the Splatana and with a charge. You can't just normally swing it. It has to be at the charge.
The Splatana became my weapon, Tris.
Nice.
It became my weapon. I
was gonna say I like it, but like I need more time with this. So I was trying other things more because I'm not that comfortable getting that close in with it yet.
The stringer was the one for me that was a problem. I could not kill with the stringer.
Yeah.
And I was trying so hard, and like when dude, I think they gotta buff the taps. The taps, I was getting nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't seem as I felt like you might as well use a charger.
Yeah, I found I was doing best with the stringer when I was acting like a charger with it, staying in higher areas, trying to essentially snipe opponents and use like the burst shots from it to actually try to ink more areas. That was how I did better with the stringer. But even then, like I wasn't doing super well with kills. I think I got more kills with the Splatana. So I'd be very interested to spend more time with them outside of the Splatfest itself to like figure out how to do better with both of them. But yeah, I'm right there with you.
PSI Squid Kid says it was really fun sniping with the stringer. Did anyone...
It is fun.
It is fun. I just wish I got more kills with it.
and I think the charger's more effective. Yeah, like I was using the scoped one for a while, and I was like, man, this is nasty. And
you're the type of player I hate, Jake, in Splatoon. Snipers have no right to be in this game. They're so annoying to deal with. Like, I turn the corner, bam, I explode for literally no reason.
Cause I got you, baby.
I don't like it.
My sights.
That's not a just reason.
So the weird thing that happened with me was that I went in expecting there was no chance I was gonna use the Splatana twice and put it down and never pick it up again. And I got so hot with the Splatana that now I'm like, this might be my main. Like, nice. I loved that weapon. I was having so much fun with it. And for me, it was mostly like, when you're panicking and they're really close to you, you got to use those taps. But it's all about the charge. It's all about that long range flick move. Yep. Oh my god, so much fun.
Yeah, that flick is good.
Yeah.
The St. Louis Nation says they just stuck with the arrow spray, lol. So I actually ended up going back, I used it a little bit in Splatoon 2, I think, and I went back to it for this one, particularly because I think it was paired with the mecha crab special thing. Is that right? You know, what's that crab tank thing? Crab tank.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that crab tank's pretty fun. I'm not great at it, but once I start understanding how it works, it plus has a whole like morph ball thing. But this is my segue into like how are we feeling about the specials here? Did you try the new specials? Did you try? How are we feeling about those?
Reef slider.
That one, God, being on the receiving end of that thing sucks.
Yeah, no, I had a terrifying match at Friends where the entire enemy team was just 4 reef sliders. Like with their weapon sets, where they made sure they all had reef sliders, constantly getting killed because like you try to turn a corner, you try to come at the enemy, nope, they're rushing you with the explosion. Oh so God. Funny, but it is so satisfying to be the one using the reef slider.
And I love the reef slider. There's so many different little situations I found myself in where I was like, oh, this is a good time to use it. Like going in, getting an enemy, that's one thing, but I love jumping out in front into enemy territory and just using it to like push forward. Oh my God, it's so, because it goes so far. And
It really does.
It's really fun. And I think my comment to you before about the specials in this game is that I feel like there are more that require like active attention and use. And there's more specials that you can like push back against. If somebody's in that crab tank, you can kill them.
Yeah, you can. It's not, it's not as strong as you think it might be.
And I think that is awesome. And I know like a lot of the specials in Splatoon 2, like the Tenta missiles that were OP and competitive for a while, it's like the point of them is to make players that are in good positions move. And that is huge. That is a huge advantage in the game. And I think just for me and my level of play, I really liked these, that I felt like I saw them happen and would interact. There was a distinct interaction.
Yeah, they're more active. It feels like they're more. Yeah, they're like they're essentially a different weapon you're using, and I like that. Yeah, they don't feel like just something you're activating and you're done with it. You actually have to put thought into how you use it.
Yes,
and that's cool.
It's so fun. Yeah, the
Tacticooler also, like working with your team with support with it, so good. So good.
Tris, I had no idea. I think it's broken. I think it's the best. I think every team needs at least one tactical. Because the thing I didn't realize was not only do you instantly come back, but it saves all of your special bar. All of it.
Wow.
Game changer.
if you're the one using it, it doesn't help much. But
right.
It's good. It's really good support.
Yo,
and I really do. Yeah. I really think the tactical. Like, I was only really using on the NZAP because I love the NZAP. But putting the tactical special on like other more support focused ones, like if you put like a charger with the tacticooler, for example, someone who normally tends to keep behind and not go into the front lines much, that's gonna be pretty strong, I think.
I totally agree. Dude, Tris, I had somebody from chat playing with me on the stream, and they were using a tacticooler, and literally, I think it's 20 minutes of me on chat, just whatever their name was, being like, yes, the juice, the juice!
Yeah, I will say, it was so, I wish this game had freaking proper lobbies, but it was so fun playing with the chat, you know, like being able to team up with people we knew and hop in and like defend the honor of Big Man. It was so great. Yes. Like, I love that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I will admit from my stream, because I wanted to try to jump into things as quickly as we could because you kept getting the communication errors. Right. I didn't really get to play with chat during mine because no one was on my friends list with it. I look forward to when they add that update where you could just group up based on like the hashtags or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
eliminate the
thing?
need.
Okay.
Yeah, that's coming. That's coming in an update, and I think that's gonna make that so much better rather than having to. What my concern was I'm gonna go accept a bunch of friend requests and they're all gonna be on the wrong team and I'm gonna have to go through all that again.
Yeah, that part is a little.
I was afraid
lame.
of that happening.
My friend had chosen the wrong teams. Had to use their boyfriend's account in order to actually choose the right team. I mean that in every sense of the word. Big man's team, darn it. And that's how we were able to finally get in. So that is one disappointing thing. And I get it, but it's still kind of a weird Splatoon only limitation. You know, like you can't play with your friends, but they chose a different team. You know. Of course, that only applies during Splatfest, but...
Speaking of the teams, I'm gonna admit something wild here. The Splatoon 1 and 2, I'm just not the kind of human being that like ever really cared about the idols. They just never tickled my fancy as cartoon characters, I guess. I love this game's idols.
They're great.
Like, obsessed with all three of them.
I wasn't sure how I felt about them initially. You know, it's based pure. You know, we know nothing of them really from the outset. But like, you know, seeing their whole like dance routine, I made a whole video with a music video with like multiple camera angles. I'm like, these guys are awesome. I love these guys. I like their personalities and when they're talking to each other. I just like their dance moves. I like just the energy they give off. And also, I think it's enhanced by just a general presentation now. Like, you have this really huge hub world now, essentially. I like how the platforms are moving around in the first half, at least. And it's just a really cool vibe overall. And I think that definitely enhances the idols in this case.
Yeah.
Especially,
I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see that it seems like now that we've had the Splatfest, a lot of people have really warmed up to all of them, which is good.
I think so too. I will say though, I like always riding for Big Man, but I'm starting to be forged in the fire with Fry over here. Because everybody's making the forehead comments, and you know what? They're right. They're right. Okay, they're right. I admit it. We have the same forehead.
I respect it, Jake. I respect it.
And I'm like, wow. I feel like we're kindred spirits. I gotta, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I really like all three, and I think having the three too, like it definitely like it just feels a little bit more active than it did with the pairs before, and I really hope they keep that like moving forward. I suspect, I wonder if maybe they'll go 4 for the next one. You know, just keep cranking up for every Splatoon. Splatoon 20, we got 20 idols now, baby.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Real quick, we got a super chat a while ago from Mighty Invincible. Thank you so much, Mighty Invincible, who says, "See, to me, I'm betting this Splatana will excel in tower control, where people have to come into your range, but Turf Wars is not its game." That actually is a really good point, because the weapons do excel in different modes. We only got a taste of the typical Turf War here, essentially. So it will be interesting to see how that factors into the other ranked modes that are not only are in the game initially, but that they're going to add down the line too.
Yeah.
So.
It's funny, I feel like we forget, but I feel like the weapons are really balanced around the ranked modes. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, in turn, of course, they're going to I think for the most part, be balanced for Turf War because you're doing so much of that in all the ranked modes anyways. But I definitely had that moment too where I was like, oh yeah, I got addicted to the ranked modes in Splatoon 2. So I'm definitely ready to like, Turf War is awesome. I can't wait to do some like Clam Blitz. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So fun. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going back to those. But I didn't play a whole lot of ranked in Splatoon 2. Like I don't know, I think I was just kind of burning out Splatoon in general at that point, besides Salmon Run.
Yeah.
But so this is kind of like a whole lot of newer stuff for me to come back to, but I missed it originally. So I'm looking forward to that. Real quick, Larry Koopa says our stream is very pixelated. Chat, how are we looking? Is that just is it just their connection, or are we good overall? It looks okay on my end, but it's hard to tell for sure.
I have us up on the side. We look fine to me.
Okay.
But, as soon as I said that,
you just froze. Amazing. All right. And we got
that was well timed.
That was incredible. I love that. All right, thanks, chat.
Yeah,
Looks like we're good.
Isn't it crazy, since you brought it up, Andre, that like Salmon Run, story mode, all the just like, you know, we walked around that hub. We spent so much time there. It feels like there's so much like going on, or that could be going on. The table turf battle, of course. I feel like, there's just so much.
Can you wait? So there were card game tables in the lobby area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you go there to play with your friends? Then is that the idea? Like, can you just hop there and play?
Oh, good question.
That might be where you can when it gets added in the update.
So cool. Like,
not at launch.
Take a break. Wait, the card game's not a launch?
No, the card game is, but not online.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we knew that, right?
Yeah.
Or we found out that at the least. Yeah. Someone mentioned earlier using the what weapon is it? The where it has that zip line ability. Yeah. Did we try
faster?
Yeah. Did anyone try it that much? I didn't try it at all. So.
I still have so much trouble doing anything.
Yeah,
good
that's what
with
they said. They had trouble using it.
I have friends that were using it, and they're like, "Yo, straight into enemy territory. Here we go.
Yes,
we're gonna flank him from behind too."
That sounds awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm all about. I like whenever I play Halo, like I'm going straight to the enemy's camp. I'm doing whatever I can to get my way over there. So this weapon sounds like it's up my alley.
What I learned using it was when you activate it, don't be like me and activate it and then go, okay, where should I go? And because that's not the way it needs to be used.
No,
because
you need to know.
Because when you do land, you'll like fly back so fast. But like, because it is really fast. I was surprised. I was like, oh man, it's already pulling me back. So definitely like tap that button, get your 2 swings in, and land in enemy territory if that's what you want to do and get all that ink done. Yeah, I liked it too. I was the only special I really couldn't figure out was the crab tank. I was just not good with it. I couldn't figure out like where its ink was shooting. It's a little confusing. I was getting better with it by the end, but yeah, it's slow to respond, which you know is good for balancing, but it's difficult to get used to. But yeah, like once you get someone in your sights, like it can just lay into them, which I love. So, how much do you when you two are playing? How much do you press the button to pull up your map and look at it?
A decent amount, actually.
Okay.
I was going to actually. I'm glad you're bringing this up because this is something I feel like the game can do better. I bring up every now and then, but it never feels convenient, you know. Like,
never.
And this is something I actually do miss from Splatoon 1. I gotta admit, having that gamepad map right there was awesome.
Yeah.
And I think why don't they just add a map to the screen? Fortnite has it. Fortnite's got like a map always in the corner, and it feels like it'd be in the way. It almost never is. Just add a map so we can see it in real time.
I need to see a mock-up. I don't know. I'm torn. I agree with you though that Splatoon 1, it was like ingenious because in Splatoon 1, something I was doing way more frequently was like the super jump to your buddies. And because it was just like boom,
right, just
done.
tap it. Yep.
And I'm never doing that in this game just because it's like you have to find your reticle, which is a whole other beast. And
well, you can use a D-pad too. There is a D-pad shortcut.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can.
But it's not. Again, it's one of those things that's so easy to miss. I'm like, oh right, I can use a D-pad. But yeah, I wasn't hopping around like for most of the Splatfest. I just wasn't launching my teammates because I forgot how to do it. So. Yeah.
Okay, Carlos is giving me a tip in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Crab Tank doesn't move forward a lot, only strafes. Once I realized it went much better. Interesting. I know I was also not utilizing ball mode in the Crab Tank. And I need to get better at that too.
Part of the issue though, the ball mode does let you move around more, but there's such a wind up on that Crab Tank's weapons that you're wasting your time if you're rolling around because by the time you unroll, you have just enough time to get back at the speed and you're done. So. Yeah. Omega Falcon says the launching at spawn makes me super jump even less. That is a good point too. There is that fact. How are we liking the launching, by the way? I think I like the idea of it more than I actually like it in action. But I don't know.
You know why I think it really works is not because of where you're landing or any of that stuff, but it is an explicit motion to the people on your team about which direction you're going at the
and that
start.
is nice. I like how you can see their cursors too, like where they're going. Yeah.
So I feel like my team and I, we were always like, we all got those visual indicators and we're like, okay, I'm here, you're there, you're there, you're there.
Yeah.
And it worked. So I appreciated it for that.
Yeah, I'm right with you there. I think I personally really like it. I think it really just depends on the map though. On if it's actually really helpful or if it's kind of a whatever. It depends on the map itself, I think.
You know what? I think that's a good segue, but I'm going to interrupt that segue to give my opinion about something first. But I'm selfish. I think the thing I don't love about the launching is that I have to be more actively involved with it. But that's usually, so when I'm dead, I'm usually checking the map, right? So I found myself often, I probably just have to get used to it again, but I was busy checking the map, looking for where I should go, and then I'm wasting time where I could be launching, and then I'm like in a hurry. I'm like, oh god, where should I be launching to, and I'll just fire somewhere randomly. But anyways, I want to talk about the maps. How did we like the maps? I have to say, again, it could be one of the things where I just need to play it more. I didn't love, at least the first rotation of maps. They all kind of blend together in my mind right now. But I didn't love the first two that I was playing with too much. I don't know, they just didn't stand out that much to me. But
Tris, what is the one that's really narrow and you have like the little glass thing on the side that you can kind of like look down on it? You know what I'm talking about on the wings?
That's the one where it's in like it's like underground. It used to be like the water area, right? I don't remember the name of it, but I know which one you're talking about.
Tris, I hate that stage. I hate it. I think it's one of the worst stages in all three of these games.
Wow.
Interesting.
It is. I got bored of it in a demo.
Undertow Spillway. Thank you. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Chad. Yeah.
I was not vibing. Yeah.
No, that map was weird. Like I personally, I didn't dislike it, but it was definitely one that tripped me up for a while. Okay. What I found most interesting is I thought it was just gonna be Scorch Gorge and Eotal Alley. That's what Nintendo made me think it was gonna be. And then I saw more maps in rotation. I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
Do we know how many were in it in total? Was it 4 maps then, or?
I think it was those
more, right?
The Tricolor ones too had a unique map as well, right?
Yeah.
It was a single map, the whole time. Which I hope isn't the case in the main game, because 24 hours of that's going to get very annoying.
That mansion in the chat is bringing up the Mahi map redesign.
Yeah.
And I have seen this opinion everywhere.
Wait, is that the water level raising one? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed this map, but I felt that the redesign, and maybe this is what people are saying, had kind of like a strong fingerprint on it, because it does feel very different. It almost feels like a new map.
Okay.
So like it has the same mechanic, obviously, which I still like and think is fun. But yeah, people did not. It's still really good when the water goes down. Yeah, I agree. But a lot of people, did not like that map for some reason.
I was going to mention, I think that was one of my favorite maps of the demo here. Actually, I think enjoyed that one the most. I like that it was more dynamic, it was changing. You had more turf to more ground to turf at some point, so
yeah,
I enjoyed that. I'm gonna just throw it out there. I think Splatoon 1, granted it's too early to say for Splatoon 3, but just overall, Splatoon 1 is still my favorite maps. I don't know what it was about those. I love those maps. Bring those maps back. All of them.
Yo, which one had the towers?
The towers! That was
Moray
a great
Towers.
one, yes.
Oh, dude, the towers.
Moray Towers, right? Moray Towers?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
Moray
you're right.
Towers, there was one at the, God, well, it was like like an oil platform or something. It was like out in the ocean. I forget what it was called. That one was great too.
Okay.
Yeah, bring those back.
Yeah.
Those were awesome. So I think
Yeah.
I think my problem is with the new ones, I didn't have a strong sense of identity. Like I never really quite knew where I was. And again, it's something I'll get more used to over time, I'm sure. Like Moray Towers, you instantly understand that map. Okay, I'm high on this end. There's another end just like it, and then it drops into the middle. So it's very clear. And I never quite had that sense. I never knew where I was in most of these maps.
Andre, I think this is a good comment because I feel like the game across the board occasionally suffers from not being visually distinct enough from its previous iterations. And this is something I brought up before we even previewed the game with Salmon Run, how I was like, it can be exactly the same. I just want it to look different. I just don't want to have the same color palette and just be on an island doing the same thing. And they're addressing that a little bit with the stages, but like I totally hear you where there should have been a stage that was the first one in the rotation where we go, this is Splatoon 3.
Exactly.
This is,
Yeah.
That's a great point.
And it probably should have been in a desert. Like that's the most, I think, distinct visual thing it has going on for it. But it is so weird to me that like in the story mode, we have an area like Alterna and don't have anything in the multiplayer that looks like that.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Not that we know of,
it's-
yeah.
The
They gotta
closest
try these things, yeah.
the closest we have for these things is Scorch Gorge is in the Splatlands, but being
Right.
at night in the Splatfest, you don't really pick up on or notice that much. Whereas during the daytime, we see it's like the desert canyons, basically.
Right.
Sora, thanks for bringing or mentioning the map I was talking about. It's Salt Spray Rig. That's the other map I was talking about. I really liked. I think,
There we go.
Yeah, maybe. Again, I haven't done like a check of the map altitude, but it feels like there's not a lot of verticality in these maps compared to like some previous ones. And again, it may just be the map selection that was here, but I really like when you have that substantial like elevation changes, and I felt like that was a little lacking here.
Okay. Totally.
Yeah.
I can see what you mean.
Splatoon 2, for me, Splatoon 2, it was the DLC state. Those were the ones that I was like, oh my god, the one that's the skate park, the like Anchor Games, I think it's called. It's like that one was so cool.
That was a fun one.
The Gobi Arena, that was sick. And my favorite one in the whole game, the mall. The mall, dude. Every game should have a mall level. Okay, it's so good. I love that stage. I wonder if that one's back for Splatoon 3. I gotta look that up.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah,
That's a good
that was a
question.
good one. We got
Yeah.
super chat from Artsy Omni. Thank you so much, Artsy Omni. We saw, I think, was it Utris that came across Artsy's art in the game when you were playing? Someone did. I thought.
I don't think I did. No.
Maybe I did. Someone did. I forget who. Anyways, Artsy says, I think everything being a knife for Splatfest contributes to things feeling samey upon first impression.
Yeah,
Interesting perspective.
that's what I think.
That very well could be. Actually, that's a really good point because yeah, you can't really see like the surrounding areas, the surrounding regions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They make it night and they all go like festive for
Right.
the Splatfest, and that becomes the main theme of
Right.
like everything on every map.
Yeah,
You lose a lot of the visual identity and personality of each of the maps when a Splatfest happens.
That's a great point.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's tough
It's-
for a demo.
Right.
like
Yeah.
this.
It's a great thing when you're actually used to the game. But when it's your first introduction to these maps, they all do kind of look the same, and I think that kind of contributes to the feeling. It's like, what map am I on right now? What's going on here?
Really quick, we got a comment in the chat from J&JLPS saying I look like Megamind, and I just want to say, I already made the forehead comment. You can't hurt me. You can't hurt me. I am Fry.
See, it's great that you now have representation in games, Jake. So I am happy for you.
That's it. Gosh. Sorry, needed that interruption.
Oh man! All right, is there anything else about the demo we haven't touched on yet? I feel like we've been fairly comprehensive so far, if a little scattershot. But is there anything else
I know-
that stood out to you?
I remember in Splatoon 2 during Splatfest, there were actually 3 stages in rotation. There was like that one stage that would always change depending on the Splatfest.
Oh.
And I'm a little surprised they didn't do that this time. And I wonder if it's because they're going to have 2 stages in normal rotation for normal Turf War, and then a single stage in rotation for the tricolors. And I'm just curious.
I think you're probably right, actually. I think that's literally it. Yeah.
That might make sense, yeah.
One stray thing that we haven't mentioned yet is I very quickly figured out that you can do the squid roll moving forward, and did it the whole time, and was
Nice.
like, oh, this is the only time I'm never using it backwards. Because all you have to do is move the stick back for like a half a second, and then push it forward and do the jump, and you'll do it.
You just kind of got to,
which makes
like,
sense.
Yeah.
And I kind of think I would have to go back and spend more time in Splatoon 2 to see if this is legitimate. But I think that this game is pushing you to play more on the walls than past Splatoon games have. I think they know that there's more to do on walls than like inkable walls. And there's like some tech you can do with squid rolling off the walls and ink surging. And just like, I noticed in my play, I was like, oh man, I'm like thinking about who has control of the walls more than I have in other games.
Wow.
So I don't know, just something to keep in mind. Yeah.
I'll need to, but that didn't cross my mind at all when playing the game. So maybe I should be.
Don't let the enemy control too many walls, because then they have too many options.
Yeah, they can move around the board, definitely.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Josh on Gosh says, why were some queue times so long? And yes, I literally had one where me and my friend were waiting for like 500 freaking seconds. And, and it was to the point where we were about to quit. It was only when I threatened that the game finally connected. I'm like, wow, maybe I need to threaten it more often.
It heard.
Yeah, exactly. We got a secret microphone on that thing. Did anyone else have issues with that? And I wonder like why I think
once on stream I had the same exact issue where I was like, oh, if it takes much longer, I'm gonna never mind, it connected us. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always weird during something like this when you know a bajillion people are playing at once. Like, you know for a fact.
Right.
And it's like, there's no excuse. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the whole online thing is such a hard thing for us to, like, put our fingers on. I actually, in the matches, I very rarely had any kind of perceptible issue.
No,
so that's
other than the disconnects, it actually ran great. It's seemingly like I didn't notice any significant input delay. I mean, it's hard to tell. Like, I think they have a really good, like, they do a really good job, like, fudging any delay here, you know? Like, there are multiple times where me and an opponent killed each other. I assume that's their, that's how they fall back on, you know, leg. It's like, oh, we don't know who really won here, so they both die. But I think the game handles it, like, the game seemed to handle really well online, except for, as we touched on earlier, that disconnect issue. And they have to fix that. Like, bringing the match to a standstill, to an end, sucks, you know? And I think the first Splatoon, what would happen if I remember? I think Splatoon 2 might have done it as well. I don't know if it happened during Splatfest. Is the match would just continue on down the player. Now that sucks too. But earlier, Jake, you had suggested to get thrown the bot player. That's not a bad solution. I always thought, I don't know why they have never done this. If a player drops in one team, just have it so when someone dies in the following team, they don't respawn until someone else dies as well. So they rotate back in. So both teams get capped to whoever the lowest player count is.
No.
What?
No, absolutely
that
not.
fixes it.
Absolutely not. If I'm playing
it's a little unfair.
and I am in the middle of a match and they go, sorry, Jake, you cannot play because your team is doing really well. That's not it though. It's not because they're doing well. It's because you have an advantage with a player being disconnected on the other side. No, I hear you, but then like, so we have four, so one person disconnects.
Yeah.
And then I die.
Right.
So I'm on the bench.
Correct.
Until somebody else dies and I take their place again.
Yes, exactly.
But I don't want to be on the bench if nobody on my team dies.
Is that better than the match just ending?
Obviously
or
not.
Worse, or is that worse? Is that worse rather than the match just ending?
No, definitely not. But like, I think it would be a weird experience to just be on the bench. I think being on the bench would be strange. I don't know. I still think it should just be a bot.
See, I feel like Carlos brings up a point here, which is how I feel. Like, bench time wouldn't be long since people die very often in Splatoon. It's constant. It would be like a 5-second delay, maybe 10 seconds. People are dying left and right in this game.
Maybe on your team, Carlos. I protect my Splatoon. So, you know.
Archie says, honestly, matches just ending doesn't bother me because at least you can jump right back in. I mean, it is generally quick, but I mean, I think it really just takes a wind out of it. If you're like, you know, if you're in the final 10 seconds, it's like, oh, someone dropped out, nothing mattered. It's like, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks a lot.
I hear the chatter though, because being able to wait in the practice room is a big change. And I don't want to undersell that.
Yeah, that is a good addition.
Yeah, and it's like it was funny during my stream when like Andre started squid bagging, and I was like, and I'm like, no, Andre, you're on stream.
The way they handle that is so interesting, by the way. Like, because you're not actually in, like, the idea is you're not in the same physical space. Like, they are holographic versions of your friends, and it's such a weird, such a Nintendo thing, right? Like, why is it this way? I don't know. It's kind of cool though, I guess.
It bothers me that the Direct named the feature as ghosts, but every mention of it is holograms.
Yeah,
just
it's
call
so
them holograms.
why? It's called holograms, right? Ghost is just confusing. Are they dead? Did they die?
Interesting, Triss. I did not pick up on that. How funny.
That made no sense to me. I'm like, just call the feature, the mechanic, whatever you want to call it, just call it holograms then.
Okay.
You never referred to it as ghost again.
Other little thing I was talking. Oh wait, is there
just a quick correction? Nate D. Great says it only ends the game if someone drops out in the first half. Okay, that's still good to know. That's still annoying in 3-minute matches, but that is a little bit better than I feared it might be.
Yeah.
So thanks for the correction, Nate.
Nate D. Great, thank you for that. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, good to know. Oh no, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, something I think that this game actually does well is, I was talking to my friends about this. There's like a fighting game thing where even though the games are like typically the same, you're always excited to play your main again, even that, you know, just to see like the small changes. And I think that happens with a lot of the weapons here, where it's like, oh man, maybe I didn't use this that much in Splatoon 2, or maybe this was my main. I'm excited to see how it is a little bit different here. And I know, like, Triss, we were talking about the Dark Tetra dualies having the reach slider, of course. But there are definitely some weapons that I didn't use that too much before, that like they have a new special I like, or they have a new sub that I like, and I'm like, oh, it's new again. And I appreciate that about the game. I think that's cool.
Yeah, it does change things up when the kit, like both the subs and specials, are changed from previous games. It makes revisiting some weapons that maybe you didn't dislike the weapon before, but you weren't too keen on the rest of the kit, so you didn't play it. But now maybe you can.
Speaking of new things, Quali Mick Washington says, "Did you use the copy robot?" So I even know someone asked me in the chat, like, "Can you go check out the copy machine?" So I'm looking for like a Xerox machine. I'm like, what? Where the heck is this thing? There isn't a Xerox here. So finally I stumble across this like weird little robot. I start spraying and it just instantly murders me. I'm like, oh, so that's what you're talking about. That's kind of cool. So I enjoyed that. I thought that was neat. Yeah, so you get it more. It's fun to see it on the other side. Okay, here's what I actually just did to this thing. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Triss, did you ever run fizzy bombs?
I did not. There was a team that kept using them against me though, so I saw them bouncing around a lot.
I was like, they were in Splatoon 2, weren't they?
I don't know. Probably.
I thought that they were, and I was just like, man, I just never came across these. And I can't remember what weapon I was using, but I was like, this is fun. This is dude, fizzy bombs? Now I really, fizzy was introduced in Splatoon 2. Okay, cool.
Okay,
yeah, I don't know why. I guess they just weren't used too much, but I felt like I was getting, maybe it's just beginner players that didn't know what they were doing, but I feel like that was an extremely effective sub weapon. I'm curious if chat's gonna be like, no, Jake, they suck. Like, I just want to say, okay, they were a late introduction. Okay, yes, okay.
That's why I didn't know them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, speaking of Splatoon 2, something I found myself using a lot more than I did in that game, though I used it to an extent, was the dualies. Like, I just had, especially with the crab tank out there, like you can use a dodge roll to get away from it.
Yes.
I still feel weird. I still think it's a little weird that that move is tied particularly to that weapon set. It just seems weird, but I liked having that move at my being available to me, and I was using it pretty frequently. So yeah,
Listen,
I enjoyed the dualies this time.
We're dually vets.
Nice.
Yeah, the dualies are where it's at. I've always been like the normal, just like shooters.
Yeah,
I'm like, what
same.
do you have? What? Why would I ever use shooters when I can use 2 with a roll? I don't know. Yeah,
that's exactly it. It's like, you know, I was a Splattershot Junior player in the original game, and now the dualies might be winning me over. So
Nice.
Cool.
Top Dog says we need a Splatoon and Fortnite crossover. Yes, that'd be amazing. I want to see freakishly tall Inklings in Fortnite. This would be amazing.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Are
I'm
you
100%
sure?
sure. I definitely want this to be a thing.
I mean, I feel like Big Man would be a great glider.
Oh, yes, that'd be great. I love it. That'd be so good. I think it actually could work if you have someone like an adult like cosplaying as an Inkling. Like I think that could be fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you could do like some characters in Splatoon, like Merch is tall and kind of humanoid, and maybe he could get away with being a character. Like I feel like there's some people that kind of fit a little bit better. Maybe like Callie and Marie types. I don't know, but yeah, you could do it.
I know, Carlos. I haven't played too much Fortnite. One thing I thought that was a little weird was the offset Splatfest times, which I don't think is anything new. I just wish it would shoot, and maybe it's gonna be different for the final game. I don't know. Maybe you two do, but like I wish it was just like a 24 or 48-hour block, and just everyone plays in that window. I think that would just simplify things. It just feels weird. But I saw like Japan had different point results, I guess. So are they not connected? Are these Splatfest individual results based on region?
They're usually individual. They're usually region-based Splatfest. Now, because it's specifically during your time playing.
Yeah.
I think for the demo, it made sense to keep them separate though, because this probably served as a big server test more than anything else. You need to test all the individual servers to make sure everything's running, and I think that makes sense for a demo purpose like this. I don't know about Splatoon 1, but I know in Splatoon 2, not every Splatfest was like a worldwide all at the same time. And you have some Splatfests that are exclusive to certain regions. So
It's true. Yeah, I think the big thing that threw it all out of whack though is that it was 12 hours. And I think because then everybody's like, the start time is when, the end time is when, and what is that in my region? And it's way too much. And I think in the future when it's like 48 hours and we go, hey, it's this weekend. It's Saturday and Sunday. Done.
So wait,
you know what
it
I
would
mean?
be nicer.
Yeah, I agree with that. Did Scissors win worldwide then, even though the results were local?
No.
Oh,
Scissors
I'm sorry. Rock. It was Rock that won, right? Or wait,
Yes.
yeah, that's what I meant. Did Rock win worldwide?
Yeah, but Scissors got some points in another region.
Japan, I think. That's one. I think it was Japan. But yeah, I saw
How
that.
did it not get points here?
So that's so right. So
it was in the lead.
So Rock won in every region, despite every region being distinct or unique.
Can I make some commentary on this really quick?
How's that work?
I feel that Splatfest, much like which Pokemon game ends up being bought more, it's always the most basic one. Like you already know.
You
like,
better not be.
Sword-
Hey, you better not. This I don't want to hear any blue slander coming up here.
That's what I'm doing.
No!
I'm slandering blue.
No!
Like same with Pokemon. It's like, oh, obviously Sword sold more than Shield, and and it's like, oh, Silver is cooler than Gold. You know what I mean? It's like stupid stuff like that. And I feel like
which word was said first? That one.
I love this first word. And but yeah, I feel like blue. It's hard to beat blue. It's just hard to beat blue and stuff like this because we're dealing with such a wide range of people. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
I hear you, OJK. I was a Pokemon Blue player too. Yep, it hurts.
The real question though is, in the future, will we be able to determine who is going to win the Splatfest by seeing which GameXplain TikToks perform the best?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Maybe.
Rock proved it this time, right? Rock won.
And it was like days before the Splatfest even started, and I was messaging you both being like, what is happening with the rock? This rock video is blowing up. Yeah.
That's funny. Ariel says, Jake Salty, take your L of class.
I'll never. Absolutely not.
So, one thing I think I would, here we go. Nintendon in the chat says, the margins, no matter the region, between the three teams is low at the halfway point. In Europe, 2% difference between the highest and lowest performing teams. Wow.
Yeah, they were always close.
It's so weird to take that small margin and give like one team a massive disadvantage based on it, seemingly. Yeah. I'm
really getting on board with give the team that's in first at the half a point. Like I'm really on board with that.
I think that'd be cool. I like that idea too. What else I would like, and maybe there's some issue involved with this that I'm not seeing. It didn't matter too much of this Splatfest, but I think it'd be cool if even if they keep every Splatfest like its own on its own local schedule, if they combine those results. Like, let it be a worldwide decision. Like, you take all the points from every region, combine it, and then you find out who actually ultimately won.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it would be more fun for, like, I don't know. I guess they want you to feel like, because I think the thing in mind there would be, does Japan just determine who wins then? I mean it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, I see what you mean.
Do they outnumber the rest of us so much?
Yeah, right.
That
we have no say in it.
We have no say in it.
Yeah.
Right.
You could weight it. You could balance it out if you really need to.
Oh, are you talking electoral college?
That's exactly what I'm saying, Jake. Yeah, that's right. Every team gets an equal amount of representatives, and
Oh my gosh.
oh man. All right. Is there anything else about this demo we haven't touched on yet? I feel like we've covered most of it, but is there anything else that stood out to you while playing this game? Whether it's differences to Splatoon 2, anything that was unique or fun or fresh, whatever.
I think it was appropriately charming, which is what it needed to be. And I've seen the memes of people going back to Splatoon 2 after playing Splatoon 3, and it's like the welcome home cheater, like people upset that like, oh, you're coming back to Splatoon 2 now, huh?
Real quick,
but everyone really wanting 3.
I love the meme that I've seen of showing the two Inklings, was it blue and yellow, like attacking the poor whatever, it was a blue side, I think, red and yellow attacking blue for like being in first, you know. Anyways, sorry, Tress, continue.
No, I think it was appropriate amount of charming, which is what it needed to be. Like, it was every little bit of it. And I think it made a good experience because, you know, we mentioned before, like, oh, if this was a demo that let us try some other things, maybe reception would have been better. But I think a Splatfest really is like the most entertaining way to do a demo because it draws everyone in to come and try it, and it gets everyone in for the time slots to be like, oh, I gotta go rep this team that I'm part of and play with everybody else, and it adds that I don't want to say the time sensitive, like, oh no, we got to do it before time runs out, but it adds that incentive for people to go in.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And that is so fun. And I feel like you see it on social media, and you also see it like in the drawings in the game, which the more I think about, the more I'm like, man, it's like a killer feature.
It is. I love
it. It adds so much. Yeah, I mean, I think like my big takeaway from this is that this was an advertisement for Splatoon, if not necessarily Splatoon 3. And I think that like that's enough. Splatoon is so good that I think they're gonna sell you on Splatoon 3 over time after you're in on day one. And I'm just so confident. I feel like this game's killer. And it doesn't have to be that much different from Splatoon 2 in the ways I was talking about before. And I think it has time to expand.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about the future. I'm so curious about what Splatoon 3 looks like in 6 months.
I have a feeling this game's going to be huge. I think it could be bigger than Splatoon 2. I feel like Splatoon 2 was almost maybe too early in the Switch's life cycle. But I feel like it kind of got like overlooked over time. I think Splatoon 3 is now going to appeal to everyone who picked up a Switch after Splatoon 2 and never picked up that game. So I think this game's going to blow up. I think it's going to be big. So
it better be.
Yeah, Nintendo wants it to be. Like we were looking at those sales charts earlier today, Jake, and I was surprised to see. Yeah. I mean, it's more a compliment to Ring Fit than it is an insult to Splatoon 2. But I was surprised to see Ring Fit like dominated the charts largely, and Splatoon 2 below. I'm like, wow, I thought Splatoon would be bigger than this, but
I kind of theorized in that video that it kind of had to do with the pandemic effect of Ring Fit being relevant.
Oh, that definitely helped Ring Fit, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, during the pandemic it was relevant, and I agree with you that I think Splatoon 2 coming out so early in the Switch life cycle, I think it actually did hurt it, because when it came out, it was another selling point of the Switch, but it was, you know, like, so was Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is so great to be in the company of those two games, but like I don't know. I agree with you. I think they're about to have a moment. I think this is it. I think the Switch install base is, you know, we're seeing games that Switch Sports? Those Switch Sports sales though? You know, it's
that did well. Yeah.
Extremely well. So, yeah, I agree. I think it's about to. And we know that, like, on social media, this game is fire.
Yeah.
And I think that matters. I think, like, half of the fun of Fortnite is I love clips of Fortnite on Twitter. Like, I truly love them. And I think seeing like little pieces of art or little memes about the idols or whatever, this game is they're so good at capturing that lightning in the bottle. And it might sound silly, but like having like a Splatfest, their first one for Splatoon 3, they sat around a table and said, it's rock, paper, scissors. like, are you kidding me? Like, but it just works. You know what I mean? It's just they get it. I would have shot that down if I was in charge.
Yeah,
I would have fired that person.
I've got to see the meetings for these. I mean, you figure like they have to go like with some. They have to cut. I mean, they can't go too edgy with these. Like, there's probably a lot of bland options on the table. That at some point, rock paper scissors just sounds amazing, given all the all the basic comparisons that they're considering. But it is.
Before we wrap up, can everybody guess? I don't want one you want to happen. I want a Splatfest that you like money on the table. This is going to happen, and I'll give you some time to think about it because I said mine to Triss earlier today. Planes, trains, and boats.
Not planes, trains, and automobiles?
No. Octomobiles? No. Planes, trains, boats. I think I'm money on the table. That's going to be a Splatfest.
I have a whole video that I'm working on. This is a teaser for chat. I have a whole video of like 10 Splatfest ideas we would love to see.
Paul in the chat, genius idea.
So I'm not gonna tease my answer here because I've come up with some pretty fun ones that I want to share in that video. But I am looking forward to seeing what you guys in chat are thinking for this.
Chat is popping off with amazing ideas for past, present, future. Are you kidding?
Oh man,
that is a good one.
I like that one. That gets like philosophical.
There's a lot. Part of what I did in my video, I looked back at like all the Splatfests for 1 and 2, and there's so many that you could rerun. Add a third option. Like past and future was one. Add present in there now. Forks and spoons. Add knives. That's dangerous, but
ketchup, mustard, mayo. You know.
Yeah.
Mustard in the mix. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I actually do like having 3 options now. I think it does make it a little bit more interesting than it did before.
It really does.
Top Dog says Mario versus Luigi versus Wario. Top Dog versus Top Dog.
If they do ketchup, mustard, mayo, do you think Big Man gets ketchup, Fry gets mustard, and Shiver gets mayo, or do they mix it up?
That's a good question.
I could see it going either way.
Yeah.
It keeps me
because I feel like for some of them they'll have to mix it up just to have the color variety and shake things up a little bit because otherwise it's just in the order you list them.
Would Fry not have to get ketchup? Her name is Fry.
That's true. Fry does need the ketchup.
Extreme, yes. That is some extreme logic and facts right there.
Also, we should just have a straight up idol Splatfest. Like, let's cut out the middleman. I want Shiver versus Fry versus Big Man. Let's just lay it on the table. Let's nail it out. I want to know who's the ultimate idol there. Or we get the teams of idols in there. We may have talked about this earlier. Get the full teams in there for all 3 Splatoons. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Squid Sisters versus Off the Hook versus Deep Cut. That's absolutely final Splatfest category.
Oh my god.
There. And you know what's funny? Something we haven't even mentioned is that like surely this game will get new weapons as well. In addition to just like Splatfest and everything else. Like we will definitely have like new weapon sets in this game. And I feel like that is also a moment for the game. Whenever they drop new weapons or things, it's like they're so good at designing these things that I feel like they are like the stringer is something to talk about. The Splatana is something to talk about. It's not just like in a fighting game when a character gets added and you go, well, I'm not using them, haha. You know, it's like its own, it's its own thing. And I still want sponges. One day.
Like to punch with them.
See, we thought about that originally, Triss, but now I'm thinking that there should be an item that it behaves like a grenade, but it's a primary, so you always like throw it in an arc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that'd be so cool, and you're like constantly tossing them out of like a bucket or something. Like I think that'd be.
You know what? I think there is. I don't know how you're imagining it would actually work. I wonder if there is potential in an item that only sucks up ink. So like it doesn't necessarily benefit you directly, but it still could if you suck up the enemy's ink. You know, exposes that
magic eraser.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Get Mr. Clean in here.
Dude,
man,
the ink vac. You know, they're already testing that with the ink vac. You know, sucking up.
Oh, that is.
Oh yeah.
That is so hard to go against.
Did you ever? you gotta swim around them, but convincing your brain to do that in the moment is brutal.
I didn't even know what was happening
really is.
when I was being sucked up. I'm like, what is going on here? I was so confused. Oh man!
good.
All right, final question before we wrap it up. How are you feeling about Splatoon 3 now? Are you more or less excited now that you actually got to play more of it? I know you both played it a little bit at the Splatoon 3 event, but that was only 90 minutes. Not even 90 minutes, like a little over an hour. But now you have multiple hours with it. Are you more or less excited for the final game at this point?
I'm more excited.
You're
Personally.
more excited. Okay. Any reason?
Yeah. I actually getting to play at my own pace now and get a little bit of playing with my friends and see what that's going to be like. I'm excited to see what comes from this.
All right. How about you, Jake? Jake, think you're hard about this.
Oh
my god.
I really am. I want to be. I'm trying to be emotionally honest with myself. I'm like
Yeah.
reflecting. I think in some ways I'm more excited because I'm more attached to the world of Splatoon 3 than I was the past games.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pulling me in more. I think the hub is going like a long way with me.
Yeah.
I really like the stuff that they're doing there. And I think the gameplay it reminded me, this is gonna sound so stupid, but let me have it. It reminded me what it was like to play Splatoon in my house and just like queue up and look at the scoreboard after and watch like, you know, when the map comes up and you're trying to eyeball who won.
It's like, I literally happening on stream right now on Andre's.
Yeah, it is. What amazing timing. Oh my god.
That was perfect timing.
It's just like all those little things that maybe at our preview
Yeah.
event I didn't really think about, but it's like all those just like the act of playing it is I'm excited about that, and I think it did a good job of like just making me re-fall in love with Splatoon again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I actually do like that final suspense, you know, like where oftentimes you don't know who won. And if you do, then you really got destroyed.
Or you destroyed in general.
Right, that too. Right. If someone got destroyed is more my point. Yeah, I think I probably agree with you, Jake. I think I feel about the same. Like it reminded me of why I enjoy Splatoon so much in the first place. It didn't necessarily show me a ton new about the game outside of like the general, you know, presentation and interface, which I do like. But when it comes to the core gameplay, it felt like very similar to me. I'm like, oh yeah, I really like this gameplay. But it's like I could also go play Splatoon 2 right now and probably have a great time with that as well. So for me, you know, I still want to see more of the final game. I think I'm most excited for Salmon Run in general. So I really want to see how that comes together. That's what I'm excited to play more of. And that might still be where I spend most of my time. I don't know. I'm going to need to play this game more. And of course, we haven't tried the ranked modes yet. There's a lot of this game we haven't quite seen. We've really only seen the baseline of it, or rather not seen, I should say played. And that's why I'm curious to see how it comes together as a full package. So what this demo proved to me is like they still got it. It's still a great game, but does it have that, you know, extra it factor that I'm looking for? And that's probably what we'll find out with the campaign, you know, Salmon Run and ranked modes and all that. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I think that is going to wrap it up. Let's check in the chat real quick, make sure there's nothing else we missed. Anything? Yeah, no, I think we got it. Anything from chat, guys, or is that it?
I think I'm seeing. I'm seeing some fun Splatfest ideas, and it's good to see everyone's always thinking about it.
Endless.
Yo, I appreciate how our chat has been through the streams and even through this on it with Splatoon.
Yeah.
I'm like, I trust chat. We're gonna, when the game's out, we got a group. I gotta rise the ranks. You guys are gonna carry me. It's gonna be great. So just shout out to chat. Chat made my stream so much fun. So I had such a good time.
That's why I can't wait for the hashtag feature now to
Yes.
come, because that is going to be a great thing. I don't get how that's not there from launch. How is this not a standard feature in Nintendo's online games yet? But I like that is coming at the least.
They need you to learn the menus first. They want you to go, oh, we need to give Andre 3 weeks to figure out the X menu, the minus menu, and the plus
It's so
menu.
confusing, Jake, okay? I'm getting older now. I can't be learning. It's like the blinking 12 on the VCR. Don't teach me new stuff. I just want to get into the game. I was standing in the elevator like an idiot for like 3 minutes, you know, for the match to start. People are like, you can run around now, you know. I'm like, I didn't know that.
No, dude. There's the next Splatfest. It's like seniors, adults, and children.
That would be amazing. It like locks you in based on whatever age you chose on your Twitch profile. Like you can't even choose. You're just locked in. I would love that. That'd be so good. All right, chat. I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Hope you enjoyed our live discussion of this. If you did, let us know in the chat how you liked it. Let us know if you want to see more of these or not. I had fun with it, but we'll be back with plenty more in Splatoon 3, I'm sure, once the game actually releases, and it'll be a ton of fun. So stay tuned for more streams about this game, I'm sure, in short order. With that, everyone, thanks for watching. We'll catch you later, and have a great rest of your week, even though it just started. Hope it's good. Bye, everyone.